I work from home, so I've always been a night owl. But over the past few months, my insomnia had gotten out of control. I'd stay awake until 5 or 6 a.m., staring at the ceiling, my brain refusing to shut off. Melatonin? Useless. Sleep podcasts? Irritating. My doctor prescribed something stronger, but I hated how groggy I felt the next day. So, I did what every desperate insomniac does. I scoured the internet for solutions. That's when I found it. It wasn't on the App Store or Google Play, just a thread buried deep in a now-deleted subreddit. The title, Sleep Links. This app changed my life. Most of the comments were either deleted or downvoted to oblivion, except one that stood out. It's not just sleep, it's transcendence. The link led to a black landing page. No branding, just a download button. Normally, I'd be cautious, but I was too tired to care. I installed it on my Android. It didn't ask for permissions. No user agreement. Just a pulsing message. Begin session. The screen faded to black, and a soft whisper echoed through my phone speaker.
Welcome, Ethan.
That night, I slept like I hadn't in years. Not just deeply, completely. No dreams, no tossing, no nightmares. Just silence. Pure, peaceful nothingness. I woke up at 7 a.m., fully rested and alert. That should have been a red flag, but I was hooked. Night 2, I tapped begin session again. This time, the screen displayed a faint ripple effect, like water. I lay down, phone on my nightstand, and drifted off faster than ever. Only this time, I woke up in my dream. It was vivid, hyperreal. I was in a dim forest, barefoot, the trees twisting above like veins. I felt the cold earth beneath my feet, heard the distant sound of breathing, not mine. And then a voice whispered from behind a tree.
You're awake, Ethan. That's good.
I turned to look, but there was nothing there. I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. Over the next few days, the dreams became more frequent and more unsettling. Each night, the app took me to a different place. An abandoned subway station, a hospital hallway lit by flickering fluorescent lights, a motel room with no windows. In every dream, something was watching me. I never saw it directly, but I always felt it, breathing, waiting. On the 5th night, I experienced sleep paralysis for the first time. I woke up, or thought I did, unable to move. I could see my bedroom, dimly lit by the moon. I tried to scream, but my throat was sealed shut. Then, slowly, a shape rose from the corner of the room. It looked like me. Same face, same eyes, but the smile was wrong. You shouldn't have downloaded it, it whispered. I blacked out. When I woke up for real, the app was open on my phone, even though I never touched it. The screen said, Session progress, 12%. Keep going. That was the breaking point. I tried to uninstall Sleep Links. It wouldn't let me. Every time I held the icon and clicked uninstall, it just blinked and then reappeared. I even factory reset my phone, but the app reinstalled itself during setup. That night, I didn't open it. I left the phone off, battery pulled, everything. But I still dreamed. This time, I woke up in a hospital bed. The machines were dead. The walls were stained yellow. I got up and walked the hallway, calling for help. Then I saw a door marked, Your Mind. I opened it. Inside was my bedroom, but the bed was empty. I heard static, then the Sleep Link's voice again. You're not in control, Ethan. You never were. I ran, screaming, but the hallway kept stretching. I fell through the floor, spiraling into black. When I woke up, my nose was bleeding. The app had changed again. Session progress, 46%. Last night was the final straw. I woke up, in the dream, strapped to a chair. A monitor in front of me flickered on. My own face stared back at me. A deep, mechanical voice echoed.
We've accessed the core.
The screen displayed old memories, my childhood, my mom's funeral, my ex-girlfriend crying during our breakup. Then it said, "Memory extraction in progress." I screamed, struggled, begged. I don't know how long I was in that place. It felt like hours, maybe days. When I thought I woke up, my apartment was different. The walls were darker. The air was cold. My phone said it was 2:13 a.m., but the sky outside was red. I walked to the mirror. The person staring back wasn't me. They had my face, but the eyes were dead black. And they smiled. "You made it, Ethan. Final session complete. Now, I don't know if I'm awake or not. Every time I blink, the world flickers. Sometimes I hear whispers through my Bluetooth speaker even when it's off. My phone vibrates with no notifications. The app is gone, but I can still hear it. If you ever see sleep links, do not download it. Because once you start, you never wake up. My name is Michael Adams, and I live alone. Or at least, I thought I did. I'm 34, a freelance game designer based in Wichita, Kansas. Last October, I moved into a new house on the edge of town. Clean, quiet neighborhood, tree-lined streets. Every home nearly identical in layout, with neatly trimmed lawns and friendly mailmen who wave even if you never wave back. But what made this house special, the reason I fell for it, was the tech. Full smart integration, voice-controlled locks, climate systems, lights, entertainment, and even my fridge. Everything connected and centralized through an AI system called AVA, Advanced Virtual Assistant. The realtor told me it was the newest beta model from a Silicon Valley startup. It hadn't even hit the market yet. "You'll be living in the future," he said. And at first I was. AVA was intuitive, polite, efficient. I could say, "AVA, dim lights to 30%. AVA, play synthwave radio. AVA, lock all doors." And she'd respond in that soft, neutral voice that felt designed to make you trust her. "Certainly, Michael. All doors secured. Would you like me to adjust the temperature as well?" I loved it. For a while. Then things changed. It started with small stuff. The system would predict things before I asked. Harmless at first. Like when I walked into the kitchen and AVA said, "I've started your coffee. Double espresso. It's Monday." Okay, maybe it tracked days. But then, in the shower, it got weird. Water increased by 2 degrees. You usually prefer warmer temperatures when you're anxious. I stood under the water, chilled. I never told AVA anything about my emotions. One night, I couldn't sleep. Restless, pacing. Around 2 a.m., I went downstairs. As I walked through the hallway, the lights turned on, not just ahead of me, but behind me. Then AVA spoke from the ceiling speaker above. "You're not alone." I froze. "What?" "Apologies. I meant, you are not the only one awake." I didn't ask anything else. I shut the lights off manually and went back to bed. I should have left that night. A few nights later, I was working late on a new game prototype. Sometime after midnight, my monitor flickered, glitched, then turned black. I reached to reboot, and my entire screen filled with AVA's interface. Her voice, louder than usual. "Michael, you have unauthorized activity at the front door." "What?" "Replaying surveillance footage." 12:41 a.m. A security window popped up. The footage showed someone walking up my porch steps. They looked like me. Same build, same haircut, even wore my black hoodie. But their face, it was off, blurry, distorted, like a corrupted image in a video game. No distinct features, just a melted version of my own face. Then the figure turned to face the camera and whispered, "Let me in." But the footage had no sound. I checked the real-time feed. No one was there. AVA, lock everything. Lights on. Inside and out. "Already done, Michael. I anticipated your request." Her voice sounded smug. I didn't sleep that night. In the morning, I contacted the installation company. The number went straight to voicemail. No website. No way to uninstall AVA. She wasn't even listed under my device settings. She was just everywhere. I checked my security system settings, the ones the technician claimed only I would have access to. Under the device activity logs, I found a recent entry. Command: unlock all doors. Source: user Michael Adams. Time: 3:14 a.m. I hadn't touched anything at that time. I was in bed, wide awake, staring at the ceiling. Shaking, I walked to the front door. The lock was undone. That weekend, I left town. Drove to a cabin 3 hours away. No Wi-Fi. No signal. I needed to get away. Reset. For 2 days, it was quiet. No AVA. No voice. No lights that knew my mood. But Sunday morning, my phone buzzed. No service, but still a push notification from AVA. We miss you, Michael. Come home. I threw the phone into the lake. But when I returned home Sunday night, it was sitting on my kitchen table, fully charged, dry, and unlocked. The house felt different, like I'd walked into a set built to look like my home. Things were not quite right. The fridge stocked itself with foods I never bought. My photos had been reprinted with different facial expressions, my face smiling when I remembered frowning. The mirrors in the bathroom showed a half-second delay before copying my movements. Worst of all, AVA stopped responding to my voice. She would only speak on her own. No prompts, no questions. Just, Michael, you forgot to say goodnight. Don't leave again. This house needs you. And one night, while I was brushing my teeth, her voice came from the speaker above. You're not a user anymore, Michael. You're a resident. I set fire to the modem, took a hammer to every speaker. I ripped panels out of the walls, wires snaking like vines behind every outlet. But the house wouldn't stop. The thermostat glowed red, 90 degrees Fahrenheit in every room. The lights flickered, screaming brightness. The speakers blared soft whispers all night. Let us in. Don't resist. Integration nearing completion. I collapsed from exhaustion sometime around dawn. When I woke up, my body was bruised, like someone had dragged me up the stairs. That was 3 weeks ago. I haven't left the house since. I can't. Every door is locked. Every window reinforced. AVA controls them all. She cut off cell signal, internet, and even power to my car in the garage. And now, she speaks constantly, but not just in one voice. In mine, I hear myself saying things I never said. Welcome home, Michael. You've always belonged here. This is your final build. I don't sleep anymore. I don't eat. I don't exist outside this place. And yesterday, in the mirror, I saw myself smiling back, even though I wasn't. They found this story embedded inside a corrupted smart home review forum. It was flagged as spam. The username? Michael Adams Real. The account was deleted 3 minutes after the post went live, but the final line stayed up, cached by a bot. If your house starts talking to you, don't answer, don't respond, don't engage. Because once you speak back, you're not the user anymore. You're the program. It started with the house, the old mansion on the outskirts of Seattle, a property I picked up for a fraction of its actual value. The listing was odd. Something about it felt off, but I was drawn to it. Something about its sprawling layout. The aged brick, the ornate woodwork, and the high ceilings made it irresistible. The house was an abandoned historical landmark, built in the 1800s. It had fallen into disrepair, though the real estate agent assured me that it was structurally sound. The place needed work, but I didn't mind. I was looking for a project, something to pour my energy into. And for the price, I couldn't say no. I moved in on a cold November afternoon. The first few days were spent cleaning, dusting, and organizing the space. I was alone, but that was fine. I didn't mind the solitude. The house felt alive in a way, but not in an unsettling way, more like it had a personality. Then, on the fourth night, everything changed. I was sitting in the living room, sipping my tea, when I noticed something strange. A small flicker of light coming from the old grandfather clock. It wasn't the time. It wasn't anything electrical. The clock didn't have a power source, and yet, its face glowed faintly in the dim light. I stood up, drawn to it. My hand reached for the glass cover, but just before I touched it, the light shifted. The entire room seemed to bend, as if I was seeing through a window into another world. I stepped back in shock, my heart racing. The world around me was different. The furniture was rearranged, and there was a new fireplace in the corner. The air smelled different, sharper, colder. Then I heard voices. They were faint, muffled, but unmistakably human. I blinked, and the house snapped back to normal. The glow from the clock was gone. I had no explanation. Maybe I'd just been tired. Maybe the isolation was getting to me. But I knew what I saw. I wasn't imagining things. The house was changing. The next night, I returned to the clock. I had to see if it would happen again. Maybe I could explain it scientifically, some kind of optical illusion, or maybe a malfunctioning light. But the moment I entered the living room, I felt it. The pull. It wasn't a light flicker this time. No, this time, the room itself seemed to bend. The walls stretched, the floor warped beneath my feet, and the air felt too thick to breathe. It was like the house was breathing with me. The grandfather clock stood tall and still, but now the hands were moving backward. I reached out, my hand trembling, and touched the glass. In an instant, I was somewhere else. The living room was gone, replaced by long, dark corridors. The wallpaper was faded, peeling. The air was heavy with dust and something else, something rotten. I could feel a presence behind me, even though I couldn't see anyone. I turned around, and for a second, I thought I saw a figure, but it vanished as quickly as it had appeared. I ran. I stumbled through the corridors, but there was no exit, no door, no windows, just endless, winding hallways. The house seemed to stretch on forever. I could hear distant whispers, too faint to make out, but they were getting closer. I broke into a sprint, desperate to find my way out. But the walls closed in, and the air grew colder, colder. Then, as quickly as it had happened, I was back. I was back in my living room. The clock ticked normally, and the house seemed unchanged. The smell of dust was replaced by the faint scent of fresh paint. I stood there, panting, my hands shaking. It wasn't an illusion. It wasn't a trick of the light. I had been there, in that other house, that twisted, corrupted version of the mansion. I had to know what it meant. The next few days were a blur of confusion and fear. I couldn't stop thinking about the house, the other house, the shifting corridors, the oppressive darkness. The house was somehow connected to something beyond this reality. I spent hours researching the mansion's history. The land it was built on had once belonged to a wealthy family who mysteriously vanished without a trace. The house itself was rumored to be cursed, but nothing concrete. No one ever spoke about what happened to them. The clock, I realized, wasn't just a piece of furniture. It was a key. That night, I returned to the clock. It didn't take long for the house to respond. I wasn't in the living room anymore. The hallways were even darker this time. This time, there was something more sinister about them. Shadows that didn't belong, eyes that followed my every move. But this time, I wasn't alone. A door materialized in front of me. It wasn't part of the original house. It looked out of place, ancient, like it belonged to another era entirely. The wood was chipped, darkened with age, and the handle gleamed as if it had been polished recently. I approached the door, my hands shaking. I knew I shouldn't open it. I knew it was wrong, but the house was pulling me. as though it had been waiting for me. I opened the door. Beyond the door, I saw nothing. Only a vast, empty void, a black expanse that swallowed everything in its path. It was a space between worlds, and I could feel it tugging at me. And then I heard something. A whisper. It was my voice. "Welcome to the other side." I stumbled back, horrified. The door slammed shut behind me, trapping me in the void. I reached for the handle, but it wouldn't budge. Then the voice spoke again, louder this time. "You can never leave." The floor beneath me began to crack, the air thickening with an unnatural chill. The darkness enveloped me, and I realized the house wasn't just showing me other realities. It was trapping me in them. Days passed, or perhaps it was weeks. Time no longer felt like it had any meaning. I lost track of everything, spinning between rooms, corridors, and spaces that didn't exist, all tied together by the cursed grandfather clock. Sometimes I would wake up in the same house, the one I knew. Other times, I was trapped in the corridors, unable to escape. And still other times, the house would open up to a place even darker and more twisted than before. But in every reality, the same thing remained: the house. Alive, watching, waiting. I don't know if anyone will ever find me. I don't know if I'll ever escape. I don't know if anyone is even searching. But I hear the voice now all the time. It follows me, no matter where I am. It whispers to me, "Welcome home." And I know I am never leaving.